What if I told you that by simply quitting these 7 things after 70, you could add years to your life and finally enjoy the freedom you deserve? Let me show you how. As we age, we often carry habits and mindsets that no longer serve us. These things hold us back from living our fullest, happiest, and healthiest lives. But what if you could let go of them? What if you could free yourself from unnecessary stress and truly embrace the joy of aging? In today's video, we'll dive into 7 things to quit after 70 for a happier, healthier life. Each of these tips is backed by real-life stories from seniors who've lived it, proving that it's never too late to make life-changing decisions. So if you're ready to unlock a new chapter in your life, keep watching. 1. Quit holding grudges. Meet Helen, a 78-year-old woman with a heart of gold. But for many years, she carried a heavy burden, a grudge against her old friend Margaret. The two had been inseparable for decades, until a falling out tore them apart. Helen couldn't shake the anger she felt toward Margaret for betraying her trust. Every time she thought about it, her chest tightened, and a wave of resentment washed over her. Over time, this unresolved anger began to take a toll on Helen's health. She found herself feeling more anxious and upset than ever before. Her blood pressure started to rise, and even worse, she noticed her energy levels plummeting. She just didn't feel like herself anymore. Then one day, Helen sat down with her doctor, who pointed out something she hadn't considered. Holding on to that grudge was affecting her body. It was causing chronic stress, and as we know, stress can have serious effects on both our physical and mental well-being. That conversation hit Helen hard, but it also gave her the push she needed to make a change. She decided to reach out to Margaret, not necessarily to rekindle their old friendship, but to let go of the resentment she had been carrying for so long. To her surprise, the moment she let go of the anger, a sense of calm and relief washed over her. The transformation was immediate. Her blood pressure began to stabilize, her energy returned, and her spirit lifted. Helen realized that forgiveness wasn't about excusing what had happened, but about freeing herself from the emotional weight that had slowly drained her life force. Holding on to that grudge had kept her locked in the past, while letting go opened up space for peace and healing. The lesson here is clear. Holding on to resentment is not only emotionally exhausting, it can take a serious toll on your health. Stress, high blood pressure, and anxiety are just a few of the physical effects of holding on to anger. But when we choose to release grudges, we make room for inner peace, better health, and the ability to live fully in the present. Letting go isn't easy, but as Helen proved, it's one of the most powerful steps we can take toward living a happier, healthier life. 2. Quit saying, "I'm too old for that." Let me tell you about George, a 72-year-old man who spent most of his life as a very practical person. He was content with his daily routine. Nothing too exciting, just the basics. But as the years passed, George began to tell himself, "I'm too old for that." Whether it was trying a new hobby or stepping out of his comfort zone, he convinced himself that there was no point in attempting anything unfamiliar. He felt like his best years were behind him, and his age meant it was too late to start anything new. One day, while visiting his granddaughter, George noticed that she had a painting set out on the table. She was in the middle of creating a beautiful landscape and was having so much fun. George was struck by how relaxed and happy she looked, but he quickly pushed the thought away. Painting? That's for younger people. Ouch. However, his granddaughter, noticing his hesitation, encouraged him to try it out. She handed him a brush and a canvas, and reluctantly, George agreed. To his surprise, as soon as he picked up the paintbrush, something inside him clicked. He was completely absorbed in the creative process, lost in the colors and shapes coming to life on the canvas. For the first time in years, he felt a sense of excitement and possibility. George discovered a hidden passion for painting that he never knew existed. Not only did it bring him joy, but it also connected him to a sense of curiosity and adventure he thought he had left behind. The lesson here is powerful. Age is just a number. You are never too old to try something new. Whether it's learning a new skill, picking up a hobby, or stepping out of your comfort zone to experience something adventurous, it's never too late. New activities challenge your brain, help keep your body active, and bring a sense of fulfillment and purpose. George's story reminds us that trying something new can reignite your zest for life and keep you feeling young at heart, no matter your age. So, the next time you think, I'm too old for that, remember George and the countless other seniors who are proving every day that it's never too late to embrace new opportunities. 3. Quit neglecting your health. Let me share the story of Martha, a vibrant 80-year-old woman who, for many years, ignored her doctor's advice about her diet. Martha had a love for sweets. Chocolate, pastries, and rich sugary snacks were a daily indulgence for her. Her doctor had warned her multiple times that these habits could lead to high blood pressure, diabetes, and other health problems, but Martha dismissed it, telling herself, a little indulgence won't hurt. After all, she had lived a long, full life and felt fine. Until one day, everything changed. Martha suffered a serious health scare that made her realize just how fragile her well-being truly was. She woke up one morning feeling extremely weak, dizzy, and out of breath. Concerned, she went to the doctor. After a series of tests, it was clear that her health had significantly deteriorated. Her doctor explained that her years of poor eating habits had caught up with her, and if she didn't make drastic changes, her quality of life would continue to decline. This wake-up call was a turning point for Martha. Determined to turn things around, she made the decision to take her health seriously. She started by making small, gradual changes, cutting back on sugar, incorporating more fruits and vegetables into her meals, and drinking more water. She also began walking daily, starting with short walks and eventually building up to 5 miles a day. The transformation was remarkable. Within a few months, Martha had more energy, her mood improved, and she felt more vibrant than ever. She even started enjoying activities she thought she had outgrown, like gardening and cooking healthy meals. The lesson here is simple yet profound. It's never too late to take your health seriously. Small, consistent changes, whether it's improving your diet, adding more movement to your day, or just making an effort to care for your body, can drastically improve your quality of life. Martha's story proves that no matter how old you are, it's never too late to start making healthier choices. So don't wait for a wake-up call like Martha's. Take action today, and you'll see just how much your health can improve with even the smallest changes. 4. Quit isolating yourself. Let me tell you about Tom, a 75-year-old man who had always been content living alone. He found comfort in his routine, spending most of his days watching TV, reading, and enjoying his own company. Tom didn't see the need to socialize much. After all, he was used to it. But one day, while chatting with his neighbor, Tom was struck by something she said. You should come join us at the community center sometime. We'd love to have you. At first, Tom brushed it off. He was fine on his own, wasn't he? But her words stuck with him, and after thinking about it for a while, he realized just how much he had been missing. A few weeks later, Tom decided to give it a try. He attended one of the community group's regular meetups, unsure of what to expect. To his surprise, he was welcomed with open arms by a group of warm and friendly people. They shared stories, laughed together, and even planned outings. For the first time in a long time, Tom felt truly connected to others. He began looking forward to these meetups, and they quickly became a regular part of his week. The more Tom engaged with his community, the more he realized how much he had been isolating himself, and how negatively that isolation had affected his well-being. Since joining the group, Tom has noticed a remarkable shift in his life. His mood has improved, he feels less lonely, and his energy levels have increased. The simple act of socializing, whether it's sharing a cup of coffee, playing cards, or just having a friendly conversation, has done wonders for his emotional and mental health. Tom learned that being around others not only lifts your spirits but also provides a sense of purpose and belonging. The lesson here is clear. Socializing is crucial for your emotional and mental well-being. Isolation can lead to loneliness and even depression, which can significantly impact your quality of life. On the other hand, connecting with others enhances life satisfaction and boosts your mood. Just like Tom, it's never too late to open yourself up to new social experiences. Whether it's joining a group, calling an old friend, or attending a local event, getting out there and connecting with others can bring joy, fulfillment, and a renewed sense of purpose. 5. Quit fearing change. Let me introduce you to Margaret, a 70-year-old woman who spent years living in the same large home where she raised her children. Over time, the upkeep of the house became more and more challenging. Yet, Margaret couldn't shake the fear of downsizing. She had built so many memories in that house, and the thought of leaving behind the space she had lived in for decades was overwhelming. She was convinced she couldn't be happy in a smaller space and feared it would feel cramped and isolating. For months, Margaret put off making any decisions, paralyzed by the thought of change. But then, after a series of health concerns and a heart-to-heart conversation with her daughter, Margaret decided to take the leap and downsize. She found a cozy apartment in a smaller, more manageable building that was easier to maintain. At first, Margaret was apprehensive. But as soon as she made the move, something incredible happened. Instead of feeling confined, she found herself enjoying a newfound sense of freedom. Without the constant demands of a large house, she had more time to focus on the things she loved, like gardening, meeting friends for coffee, and traveling. The stress that had been building for years began to melt away. Now, a year later, Margaret is happier, healthier, and feels a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years. She learned that while change can be daunting at first, it often opens doors to new opportunities and personal growth. Her life is less stressful, and she has more energy to spend on the things that matter most. The house she once thought she couldn't live without no longer holds her back. Instead, it's her new home that brings her joy and fulfillment. The lesson here is simple. Change can be intimidating, but embracing it often leads to newfound freedom and personal growth. It's easy to let the fear of the unknown keep us from making necessary changes. But those changes often bring about the best parts of life. Margaret's story shows us that embracing change doesn't mean losing what you love. It means giving yourself the chance to grow, simplify, and live more fully. Don't let fear hold you back. Sometimes, the best chapters in life come from the changes we are most afraid to make. 6. Quit overloading your schedule. Meet Frank, a 77-year-old man who spent the majority of his life taking care of everyone else. Whether it was running errands for his children, helping out with neighbors, or volunteering at his local church, Frank was always on the go. He prided himself on being reliable and helpful, but over time, this constant busyness began to take a toll on his well-being. Frank realized that he was always running around checking off tasks for others, yet he never seemed to have any time for himself. He felt exhausted, stressed, and disconnected from his own desires. One day, Frank's daughter, noticing how drained he seemed, asked if he had been taking time for himself. It was then that Frank realized how long it had been since he had done something simply for his own joy and relaxation. His days were packed with other people's needs, leaving no room for his own. That conversation was a wake-up call. Frank decided to make a change. He started saying no to some of the demands on his time, giving himself permission to step back and slow down. He began setting aside time each day to go for a walk, read a book, or simply enjoy a peaceful cup of tea. The results were immediate and remarkable. Frank found himself feeling more relaxed, with more energy and clarity. He was no longer overwhelmed by the constant rush of errands and obligations. By prioritizing his own happiness and well-being, Frank discovered that he could be more present and joyful in the moments that truly mattered. Instead of feeling like he was constantly running on empty, he was able to fill his own cup and then share his energy with others in a way that felt fulfilling. The lesson here is powerful. You don't need to be busy all the time. It's important to recognize when you're overloaded and give yourself permission to step back and prioritize your own happiness. By saying no to things that drain your energy and embracing moments of rest and relaxation, you can improve your well-being and experience a deeper sense of fulfillment. Just like Frank, taking time for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary for your mental, emotional, and physical health. 7. Quit comparing yourself to others. Let me tell you about Lillian, a 79-year-old woman who, for many years, found herself comparing her life to that of her younger relatives. Every time she saw pictures of them on vacation, hosting family events, or achieving career milestones, she felt like she was being left behind. Lillian's life had taken a different turn. While her relatives were bustling with busy careers and growing families, Lillian had focused on raising her children and building a quiet, peaceful life. She began to wonder if she had missed out on something. The more she compared herself to others, the more she felt dissatisfied and uncertain about her own path. It wasn't until Lillian had a heart-to-heart conversation with her niece, who was a little older than her grandchildren, that things began to shift. Her niece shared a story of how she admired Lillian for her strength and the wisdom she had accumulated over the years. "Aunt Lillian, you've lived such a full life, and there's so much we can learn from you," she said. Those words struck a chord. Lillian realized that her journey, with all its ups and downs, was unique and beautiful in its own right. She didn't need to measure her life by anyone else's standards. From that moment on, she stopped comparing herself to others and started to appreciate her own path. Lillian began to embrace the joy that comes with aging. She celebrated the experiences that shaped her, the lessons learned over the years, and the relationships she had built. Instead of feeling left behind, she recognized the richness of her life, the wisdom, the memories, and the peace that come with accepting who she is. Now Lillian enjoys sharing her stories with her family and friends, taking pride in the knowledge and perspective that only age can offer. The lesson here is clear. Everyone's path is different, and comparison only steals your joy. Rather than looking at others and feeling like you've fallen short, focus on your own experiences. Celebrate the unique journey you've had, and embrace the wisdom and beauty that come with age. Lillian's story shows us that true contentment comes from appreciating where we are, not measuring ourselves against someone else's timeline. So take a moment today to reflect on your own incredible journey and the wisdom you've gained along the way. So there you have it, 7 things to quit after 70 for a happier, healthier life. Remember, it's never too late to make positive changes and embrace the freedom that comes with them. Whether it's letting go of grudges, trying new things, or simply taking time for yourself, these changes can make a world of difference. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, be sure to leave a comment below and let me know which of these 7 things you're ready to quit. Is it 9 or 0 that stood out to you the most? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and enjoy every moment of your journey.